Okay, so you know how everyone's talking about like private equity just taking over everything,
Mm-hmm.
especially in the home services trades. It's kind of a hot topic.
Yeah.
So we found this really interesting article by Norris Ayvazian.
Okay.
It's called "Private Equity Isn't Eating the Trades; It's Exposing the Weak."
Interesting title.
Yeah, so we're gonna deep dive into that today. And for you listening, like if you want to actually understand all this stuff without like getting lost in the weeds, this is the place to be. We're
Absolutely.
going to like cut through all the noise and really see what Ayvazian is arguing.
Yeah.
And I think what's cool is that it's not just about private equity, it's about like what it tells us about the whole home services world, right?
Totally.
Yeah.
I think his main point is not that private equity is good or bad, but it's kind of like a stress test.
Oh, okay.
It shows you where the cracks are in these businesses, right?
Yeah,
Like if they're not ready,
that makes
you're
sense.
going to get exposed.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people listening have probably heard that narrative that private equity is just eating the trades
Oh, yeah.
and that like small businesses just can't compete anymore.
Right. It's like this big scary monster coming to get you.
Exactly. And Ayvazian like straight up calls that out. He
Yeah.
calls it sensationalist nonsense
Wow.
and fear-mongering. He thinks people use that narrative as an excuse for not keeping up. Like instead of blaming themselves or their own choices, they just blame this like external force.
It's easier to blame someone else than to look in the mirror.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Okay.
And there's also this whole romanticized idea about the like independent contractor,
Oh,
right?
yeah, the classic image.
The person who like built everything themselves through blood, sweat, and tears.
Right, bootstraps and all that.
But Ayvazian is saying that maybe that's not enough anymore.
Interesting.
He's not saying that hard work isn't important or anything. He's
Well-
just saying that you also need like systems and data and a plan.
You can't just wing it forever.
Yeah, like he talks about these things called key performance indicators.
KPI.
Yeah, basically it's like tracking the important numbers in your business.
Gotcha.
Like how happy are your customers? How much does each job cost you on average?
That makes sense.
And he also talks about having a good hiring system.
So not just hiring your buddy's kid.
No. Like a real process for finding and interviewing people
Okay.
and training them properly.
Right, you got to have standards.
And then the other thing is like customer expectations have changed, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
People want things fast. They want clear communication. They want it to be professional.
If everyone wants that Amazon experience these days.
Totally. So Ayvazian is saying that like passion and hard work are great, but you also need all this other stuff to actually succeed these days.
So it's not just about showing up and working your butt off. It's about working smarter, too.
Exactly. And for you listening, that means like you need to be thinking about these things in your own business too.
Whether you're a contractor or a baker or whatever it is, you got to have systems in place.
Okay, so let's get specific. Like what are the weaknesses that Ayvazian says are getting exposed?
Well, he talks about businesses that have zero repeatable systems.
Meaning?
Like every job they do, every customer they talk to is like a whole new thing.
Oh, wow.
No consistency, no process,
So it's chaos.
pretty much.
Yeah.
And then he talks about businesses with outdated pricing models.
Like they're still charging what they did 10 years ago?
Exactly. They haven't adjusted for inflation or competition or anything.
So they're losing money.
Potentially.
Yeah.
And the third big weakness is businesses with no plan for leadership beyond the founder.
So it's like a one-man show.
Basically, and what happens when that one person retires or gets sick or burns out?
That's a good point.
And Ayvazian is saying these aren't like cute little quirks. These are like serious problems.
What are vulnerabilities?
Yeah, and when private equity firms come in with all their spreadsheets and their analysis,
they see right through it.
exactly, it's like an x-ray showing all the broken bones.
Okay, but let's be real here. Not all private equity is the same, right?
You're absolutely right. It's not like this big monolithic evil empire.
Okay, good.
Ayvazian actually talks about the different types of private equity firms.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. So there are these things called debt-loaded LBOs, which stands for leverage buyouts.
LBOs, okay.
And basically they use a lot of debt to buy a company.
So they're in a lot of debt.
Yeah. And then they have to cut costs like crazy to pay back that debt.
I see.
And they often try to resell the company quickly for a profit.
So it's all about short-term gains.
Yeah. And then there are growth equity partners.
Okay, so what's the difference?
These firms invest money to help a business grow over a longer period.
So they're more patient.
Exactly. They're not just looking for a quick flip.
And Ayvazian says that these growth equity firms can actually do some good things for home service companies.
Oh, yeah. He gives some really interesting examples.
Like what?
Well, he talks about customer service reps finally getting real training.
Not just like thrown into the deep end.
No, they actually learn how to do their job well, and they get clear goals and incentives.
So they're happier and more effective.
Exactly. And he also talks about technicians getting better leadership and support.
Oh, that's huge.
Yeah, and they get standardized procedures, so every job is done to the same high standard.
Okay, that makes sense.
And Ayvazian points out that a lot of these companies have really messy back office operations.
Like invoicing and scheduling and all that.
Yeah, that's often a nightmare.
And so these growth equity firms come in and streamline everything.
They make it digital, they automate things, they get rid of all the paper.
And suddenly the business owner can actually see what's going on.
Exactly. They have clear dashboards and real-time financial data.
So they can make better decisions.
Precisely. And for you listening, this is key.
Like having your back office in order can make a world of difference.
Absolutely. It can free up so much time and energy and reduce errors.
Okay, so now let's talk about this issue of rising costs, right? Because everyone's complaining about labor costs going up and material prices being all over the place.
Yeah, it's a real challenge.
So is Ayvazian saying that private equity is blameless in all this?
No, he's not saying that.
Okay.
He acknowledges that these are real problems affecting the entire industry.
So it's not just a private equity thing?
Right, it's a broader economic trend.
Okay.
But he does say that PE-backed companies often have an advantage in dealing with these challenges.
Right.
They have more data, they have better systems, and they have more buying power.
So they can like negotiate better prices on materials.
Exactly. And they can adjust their pricing more quickly based on real-time data.
So they're not just like guessing or hoping for the best.
Right. They're making informed decisions based on hard numbers.
So it's like they're a step ahead.
Yeah, they're more proactive rather than reactive.
And for you listening, that means that you got to up your game too.
You got to be thinking about how to leverage data and technology to stay competitive.
Okay, so now let's get to this really interesting idea that Ayvazian talks about.
Okay.
He calls it build or be bought.
I like that.
So it's like a different way of looking at this whole consolidation thing.
Instead of just surviving.
You're either building a super strong business or you're making it so attractive that someone wants to buy it.
That's a much more empowering perspective.
Totally. And Ayvazian gives examples of these home service businesses that are thriving.
Not just surviving, but thriving.
And they're doing it by focusing on what he calls repeatable excellence.
Which is?
It's about standardizing your services so every customer gets the same great experience.
Okay.
It's about training your customer service reps to be super professional.
So they're not just answering the phone and winging it.
No, they're like brand ambassadors.
Right.
And it's about connecting the work that's done in the field to the financial health of the business.
So everyone's on the same page.
And what's really interesting is that private equity firms are looking for these businesses.
They want to buy the ones that are already doing well.
Not the ones that are struggling.
Exactly. Because they see the value in a well-run operation.
So it's not about preying on the weak. It's about recognizing strength.
And investing in potential.
It's like a whole different game.
And for you listening, this is huge.
It means you have the power to choose your own destiny.
You can either build a business that's strong enough to stand on its own.
Or you can make it so attractive that someone wants to partner with you.
And that's way better than just being scared of getting swallowed up.
Yeah. Ayvazian is basically saying that if you're too busy worrying about private equity, you're missing the point.
You're taking your eye off the ball.
You should be focused on building your own business.
Making it the best it can be.
And he has this great line at the end.
Oh, yeah? What is it?
He says, sound systems beat strong opinions every time.
I love that.
It's so true.
It's not about who's loudest or who complains the most.
It's about who has the best systems in place.
Who's actually doing the work.
So to sum it all up, this deep dive has really shown us that private equity isn't the big bad wolf.
No, it's more like a mirror.
It reflects what's already there.
The strengths and the weaknesses.
And for you listening, this applies to way more than just the home services trades.
Absolutely.
Like, think about your own industry or your own business.
What are the external pressures that are revealing your vulnerabilities?
Or highlighting your strength.
It's all about building something solid and sustainable.
That can weather any storm.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
We'll see you next time.